Welcome everyone to Salina High School 101. This is the science department and we are just going to play a brief video introduction. Hello, my name is Drew Braun and I teach chemistry and biology.
Hi there, my name is Jason Andrew. I teach physical science and physics.
Hi, I'm Catherine Dirksen, and this year I'm teaching physical science, taught some biology, and I'm also teaching AP chemistry.
Hello, I'm John James. I teach biology, zoology, and environmental science.
Hi, I'm Kim Wogus. I teach honors biology, biology, forensics, and biotechnology.
Hi, I'm Crystal Gates. I teach sports physiology, anatomy, and biology.
Hi, I'm Deb Meyer. I'm an intervention specialist. I teach resource room science and I help in the environmental science classes.
Okay, so let's get started off with the meat of why we're here tonight. Okay, this display here shows the courses that we offer here at Salina High School. So what we'll be talking about today is the 9th and the 10th grade. We'll give you a little bit about both. Now, if you look up top, the graduation requirements for a regular diploma, you need 3 credits. One will be a physical science, one will be a life science. That is typically biology, and then the 3rd credit will be an elective. To get an honors diploma, you need to have 4 credits. So you would have those 3 things and also one more elective, which is not environmental science. That does not count towards the honors diploma. So if we look at the 9th grade, here, we see that there are 2 possibilities for your student to take next year. One would be physical science. The second would be honors biology. Now, we here at Salina High School do not determine what your student will be taking. That is determined by their science teacher in the middle school. We probably about 80% of the kids coming in will be taking physical science. The other 20% will be taking honors biology. And the big thing here, science and math are tied together. So if they are taking honors biology, they had to take Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. Now, the reason that is to line them up to be taking chemistry at the same time that they're taking Algebra 2 down the road. So we have to have those lined up. So what we are going to do now is we are going to talk a little bit about the individual classes. So I'm going to pass on the mic and we'll hear a little bit about physical science.
All right, so physical science is, like Mr. Braun mentioned, it's going to be a course that most of our freshmen end up taking, about 80% of them, and this is going to be a year-long class. So it's a year-long class, but we kind of chunk the course into 2 semesters. In the very first semester, we focus on chemistry. So we're going to be talking about things like matter, atoms, the periodic table. We get to know that real well. Bonding and compounds, chemical reactions, all that kind of good stuff. We both physical science teachers utilize interactive notebooks, so the kids do a lot with that. And we also do a lot of virtual and hands-on labs in class. So that would be what you're going to see in the first semester if your child ends up in physical science.
Okay, so in the second semester of physical science, we're going to get into physics, and this is simply an introductory level physics. So if any of the freshmen decide that down the road in the future they want to take our regular physics course, they'll have the basic skills they need to succeed in regular physics. But you can see some of the topics listed here that we go through in physical science second semester. We'll start off with motion, acceleration, and forces. Then we get into the laws of motion, which would be Isaac Newton, and we'll talk a little bit about gravity in there. We get into energy in our third unit, talk about different forms of energy, mainly kinetic and potential energy. We get into waves, in our fourth chapter, do a little bit with sound and light in there and just some basic properties of waves. And then we wrap up the year with electricity, and we'll be building some circuits and talking about current and voltage and resistance and just some of the different parts of a circuit. And this will be very lab oriented, a lot of labs. We'll do some notes, and again, we'll continue with a lot of the same basic format of things that we did in the first semester with Intro to Chemistry.
Okay, with honors biology, this is the smaller group of students will be taking this as freshmen. These are typically the top students picked from the junior high levels. We're going to try to push them more towards application skills rather than just memorization, because we know they memorize very well. So we're going to push them in other directions. So sometimes they will do extra labs. They will go more in depth on some of the topics so that they are better prepared to go on to some of our tougher electives like chemistry and physics and obtain their honors diploma.
For the first semester in biology, we're going to cover some various topics. We'll start off with the scientific method, where we look at different controls and variables, and then we'll go over cell structure and function, and then we'll cover cell processes, where we're looking at cell respiration and photosynthesis. We'll get into reproduction in cells, going over mitosis and meiosis, and then we will end up with Mendelian genetics.
All right, in the second semester of biology, you can see the other topics that are listed here: molecular genetics, mechanisms of evolution, classification, biodiversity, and principles of ecology. And we also try to go back and review the first semester, because with biology there is an end of course exam. All the sophomores that take biology will be required to take this, and if your student is taking honors biology as a freshman, they will also be required to take this end of course exam.
Next, we're going to talk a little bit about chemistry. Chemistry is a class that your students could be taking their sophomore year, or they could also take it their junior year. The reason being is that there's a prerequisite for chemistry, and that's biology. So if your student takes honors biology as a freshman, they could take chemistry as a sophomore. If they're taking biology as a sophomore, then they could possibly, if they would like to, take chemistry their junior year. Now, with chemistry, we have a co-requisite, which is Algebra 2. We talked a little bit earlier about how we decide whether students are going to physical science or whether they are going to biology as a freshman. Well, it depends on the math. So if they've taken Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, they are in line to take chemistry. So that is why a lot of the times they're in honors biology that freshman year. During chemistry, we see these different types of topics: atoms, the periodic table, nuclear chemistry, bonding, nomenclature along with formulas, chemical quantities, chemical reactions, stoichiometry dealing with and ideal gas laws, phases of matter, mixtures, equilibrium, kinetics, acids, and bases as what we wrap things up with in chemistry. So once again, as we look back at our grid, we can see that the 9th grade year, physical science, 80% of the kids, 20% are going to be taking honors biology. As Mrs. Gates said a little bit earlier on, these honors biology kids are going to be the individuals that will take our only end of course test that we have here in science, and that is biology. So each one of your students will take the end of course, but some of them will take that as freshmen if they have honors biology. Others will take that as sophomores if they have biology during their sophomore year. So once again, the biggest thing that we need to remember: number one, 3 credits of science during your high school years. One of them has to be a physical science, one of them has to be a life science, and one of them has to be an elective. So if you were going this route, physical science would be your physical science, your life science would be biology for that 2nd credit, Then that third credit could be any one of these things here. Let me move that. Any one of these different, could be chemistry, it could be environmental science, it could be one of these forensics, biotech, zoology, anatomy, sports physiology. But you can see that a lot of these are semester courses, okay? If you were doing 4 credits, you would have to have the physical science, the life science, and electives. Now, if you would go the other route, if you take honors biology as a freshman, that would be your biology, your life science. So then that next year, you would have to have a physical science, which most likely would be chemistry, and then you would be able to take that elective later on. Could be AP chemistry, could be physics, or it could be any combination of these electives over here. Once again, this has been the science department. We're going to now open up for any questions if you should have any.